Democrat from California joins us right now, a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks for being here with us. You bet. Vice President Biden meeting with Ukraine's prime minister, as was mentioned. We also have the U.S. sending 150 soldiers to Poland and Estonia for training exercises. Those are some of the steps right now. Do you agree with them? And what does this accomplish? You know, as Russia is watching very carefully at how the U.S. reacts to what they're doing.
I certainly do agree with them. I think it's important that the vice president to be there to voice his support for the Kiev government. I also think it's important that we beef up training exercises in the Baltic states. I was in Lithuania just a couple weeks ago, and they're very concerned that Russia will expand beyond Ukraine and threaten the Baltics as well. And under Article 5 of our NATO treaty, we are obliged, if they're attacked, to deem an attack on any NATO member as an attack on all of us. So those are prudent steps, but I would also agree with my Senate colleagues. I think we're going to have to do more in terms of sanctions. I think we'll have to do more very soon because the Russian destabilization efforts are going to stop. So we need to broaden the sphere of those that are sanctioned. Ultimately, if Russia moves in, I think we need to go to those sector-based sanctions. It's the only way, I think, to make Russia pay a price for this kind of violation of its neighbor's sovereignty. So I think that may be where we're headed. It's regrettable, but nonetheless, I think we're going to have to show strength here. I think we do have an obligation to Ukraine as part of the 1994 agreement that when they gave up their nuclear weapons, we said we would help assure their territorial integrity.
So, Congressman, you've mentioned many possibilities. What's the one you think is most crucial of all of those?
Well, I think really probably a couple things. One is to broaden the sanctions, to go after more institutions, more individuals, and then step them up to sector-based sanctions if the Russians further invade Ukraine. But I also think that we can help Ukraine with intelligence, help guide them in terms of what the Russians are doing in their country, what the Russian troop mobilizations look like outside their country. These are things that I think we can do without disclosing sources and methods that would be of great importance to Ukraine.
Okay, Congressman, you heard what Senator Corker said. Could we lose eastern Ukraine? And for that matter, as the Ukrainian prime minister was saying, you know, Russia is trying to recreate the days of the Soviet Union. How do you react to both of those statements?
Well, I think that Russia is trying to recreate its imperial greatness, and the way that Putin talks about new Russia, using that czarist terminology for parts of Ukraine, is deeply disturbing. It does hearken to a throwback time when we were in the Cold War. We're going to have to respond to it, and I think we're going to have to respond very strongly, which means right now we need to work with Europe to line them up behind broader sanctions, because I think they are going to be necessary. And they're going to be hurtful to Europe, but more hurtful to Russia. And that's the key point, is to make them pay a cost for these violations of sovereignty and territorial integrity. Because if we don't stop them here in eastern Ukraine, it's very possible they may decide to go into Moldova or elsewhere.
Congressman Adam Schiff, thank you for your time this morning.